Hi there, Diana from Adirondack Girl at Heart. I teach vintage lovers how to create successful vintage and antique businesses that they love. It's one of my favorite things to do. One of the ways that I do that is by sharing my vintage finds with you, and I talk about how much each item cost and what I think each is worth. Just recently, my sweet husband and I attended a barn sale that was so much fun. And if you follow me on Instagram, or if you're in my private Facebook group called Your Vintage Headquarters, then you've already heard me talking about it. You've seen some videos of some of the items that I bought and a picture of the barn that I picked from. So if you're not following me yet on Instagram or a member of my Facebook group, then what are you waiting for? Run on over. I'll link to them below. So today I'm going to share the finds that I got from the barn sale. So I spent $71 and I'm going to show you almost every single item that I bought. One item that I don't have with me today is a drawing board. It has this wonderful patina on it that I just really fell in love with. And I also established the values of each of the items, what the cost to me is going to be, you know, later on when I reconcile everything. So I'm going to try to, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my list so I remember what value I attributed to it. Are you ready to see? I think I'm going to start with this towel rack. It is so interesting. Oh, now it's coming apart. It's like one of those rotating towels, right? It would hang on the wall like this. It's all wood, really beautiful aged wood, and then you could pull this down and dry your hands on it. So I'm gonna wash the linen, and I will price this at about $35 to $40, and I paid $3 for it. Let's look at some china. Picked up a really cute little blue willow egg cup. I just wrote an article on my website about blue willow if you want to read more about it. This one is marked Japan on the bottom, and I would value it at about $15 to $20. And I also bought these two little toy, I'm calling this a pitcher and this a creamer, also made in Japan. And I spent $1 on each of them. They are blue willow, and they should sell for about $10. I probably going to keep this one because I have a miniature picture collection that I've written about on my website that I'll link to, and it will fit in perfectly. And an ironstone creamer. It does have an embossed design along the top that looks like leaves. It is unmarked, so I'm going to call it American. Nice overall brown crazing. I will list this on Etsy for probably $21.99. If you're following me, you're following my blog, my Facebook Lives, I have been talking so much about ironstone and selling it on Etsy, and it's been a terrific experience. Look for a blog post called What's Hot? Vintage and Antique Ironstone, and I'll tell you the whole story about how I've been experimenting with where is the best place to sell ironstone, so you can get the scoop there. Speaking of ironstone, here is a jelly mold. Some people would call it a pudding mold. This one is signed Green's Homestyle Jellies. Just so interesting. Was it sold with a jelly in it? I don't know. Never seen anything like it. Shaped like a chicken, and I paid $2 for that, and I'm hoping to get something like 40 to 45, possibly even more, because I think it's so unusual and so unique. I will report back how that does. 2 butter pats for 50 cents each. Neither is marked. I also have an article on my website about butter pats that I'll link to. Really fun collectible, especially for people who don't have a lot of money to invest in a collectible, or they don't have a lot of space, right? Okay, let's look at some glass. I picked up 3 canning jars. The first one is, oops, I put my note in there. It was wet and so it stuck. My little reminder. So this is a ball mason jar. I have a blog post all about collecting canning jars with a chart on it to help you date your jars. So this is one that they call a triple L because it has 2 L's, obviously for ball, but then a loop at the end. I'm not sure if you can really see that. There you go, I think you can. So they call it a triple L, and it dates to 1900 to 1910. And recently I bought a supply of lids, zinc lids. So one of those is gonna fit perfectly. And then this is called a shoulder seal, because the lid is gonna fit right down nice and tightly on that. And so it's a shoulder seal dating to 1900 to 1910. I would price it at about $12 to $15. They sell really well for my antique booth. And here's an Atlas Easy Seal, also $12 to $15. This is called a lightning seal, the wire bail, and they also sell really well. And then here is a new to me jar. It's called Double Safety. Not worth a huge amount when I checked on eBay, but I will sell it for my antique booth, and I will price it at $20 and see how it does there. I always pick up new to me and interesting canning jars when I see them. Here's a nice little jar with a zinc lid. It will sell for about $15 to $18. Just cute aqua jar. Picked up a little whiskey flask. I suspect that whiskey was sold in it. It's got Universal written on the bottom. I'm not sure if that's the glass manufacturer, but has its original lid. And so the canning jars I paid $1 each for. $1 for that also. Paid $1 for this little whiskey, which I will price at $10. And $1 for pine oleum bottle will sell for about $5. And a cobalt blue Emerson Drug bottle will sell for $8 to $10. Still on the bottles, picked up this really nice, I'm calling it an Apothecary Jar. Comes with the original cork, which I love. I paid $3 for it, and I'm hoping to sell it for $28 to $32. I have a blog post about amber bottles and about dating old bottles, antique bottles in general. And I referred to it when I was checking out this cool bottle. It's embossed. It looks like it's J-N-O, but I believe that's a misspelling of John Wyeth and Brothers, Philadelphia, liquid extract malt. And John Wyeth and Brothers was a pharmacy in Philadelphia very early, late 1800s. Actually, was sold to Pfizer in 2009. So this is a really old, long-lasting company. This liquid extract malt would have had some alcohol, a certain alcohol level, but it was for some sort of sickness or illness, whatever. And really nice seeds in it. You can see the mold marks better on this side. mold marks. So it would have been blown or poured into a mold, probably poured into a mold, and the mold lines end right about there. And so that dates this to the very late 1800s. Let me see, I took a few other notes. It has whittle marks on it that you can see, especially on the neck, so you know that the mold was a whittled wooden mold. So lots of really interesting information on that one. It seems to be going on eBay for anywhere from $15 to $20. I will probably sell it from my antique booth for higher than that. I'm thinking after I clean it up, selling it in the $35 range. I didn't point out that it still has the original little wire bail that would have held the cork in place. Super interesting. Last glass piece is this little brass and glass box with a lid, great for terrarium, which is really, they're really popular right now. So I picked that up. So paid $2 for that bottle, $1 for the terrarium. And let's move on to some metal things. This is a really cool bronze horse that would have been the top of a clock, would have sat on top of a clock. And I paid $4 for him, and I hope to sell him in the $35 to $38 range. This is a great farmhouse style, great star pan. Paid $1, and I will price it $12 to $15. This is one of my favorites. This coffee pot with the side handle where you'd pour like that. And I paid $4 for it, and I hope to sell it for about $35 to $38. Another neat little tin with a latch. I just love these. Paid $2 for it and hope to sell it for $25 to $28. A little pan has a lip here for pouring and an attachment there like a hook for hanging. I'm thinking this was something in the barn, maybe for I don't know, milk, something like that, but I hope to sell it for about $15 to $18. The gray enamelware is not quite as popular, obviously, as the colored enamelware. I do have a blog post and a price guide for enamelware that I will link to below. Okay, the last metal item that I have is 1960s or 70s recipe box. I just updated a blog post all about recipe books, handwritten recipe books, and talked a little bit about recipe cards. So I was really happy to pick this one up. I will be listing it on Etsy. I have sold a couple of the recipe books for really good money. So check out that blog post if you're interested in that sort of thing. I suspect I will price this about $20 to $25, and it also came with 2 sets of blank cards, which I've had good success selling for about $10 a package of vintage recipe cards. So I think that I'm going to list them together since they don't have their box, and probably will price them at $11.99. Whisk brooms sell very well for me. I price them usually about $10 to $12. This one I will price at $12 because it has this little added element of fabric up here, which is not rare, but it's not common either. So about $12. This one has seen better days, definitely used. I will probably price it at $7 or $8. I picked up a couple of books, a tooled leather Bible dictionary. Isn't that beautiful? It's very dry, so I'm going to try to wax it. but I hope to sell it in the $30 to $40 range. And Audubon's Birds of America, I did take a minute to research it, and it was selling for about $10 to $15 on eBay, but I sell a lot of bird books from my antique booth, so I will probably put it there. We're getting close to the end. I love art, and this barn sale had an entire room that the owner had turned into an artist studio, and I tried not to go crazy overboard. I bought 2 pieces. One I actually left in my workroom, so I will add that in later. It's a watercolor that I just fell in love with, and I paid $5 for it. I paid $1 for this fellow, very impressionistic. I thought it was really neat piece that I hope to sell for about $25. I also threw into my pile, I counted this as free because it's in such bad shape. There was definitely a mouse family living on this book, but it's a Victorian era Christmas book filled with these wonderful Victorian images of Santa Claus, and I make bookmarks using all kinds of ephemera. I have 2 articles on my blog about them. One, I used sewing patterns, and then the other one is they are more mixed media, different types of books and old paper stuff. But I also make them out of books like this one, children's books, and sell them as well for $4 each. I sell them at a local museum gift shop, which is super fun. Okay, so we are down now to the last 3. I saved the best 3 for last, or at least the ones that I like the best. Oh, I just love that. Look at those horns. I think I'm going to spray paint the whole thing white and then figure out how to hang it. I have no idea how much something like that would be worth. I'm thinking $35 possibly. I paid $2 for it. A really nice wicker picnic basket. $40, $40 to $45, something like that. Really like that. I paid $5 for it. And the last piece, sign, paid $5 for it, for Poster Lane. I think I can sell it for $40 to $50, something like that. That's my hope anyway. So I hope you enjoyed seeing today's barn sale finds. And I'd love it if you'd give me a thumbs up, if you leave a comment, if you subscribe to this channel. That would just be awesome. I'd appreciate it so much. And thanks for hanging out with me today. And as always, happy hunting.